to have Philip in the building, and Philip Ade-Akanbi is I'm trying to where's the this thing? I'm trying to introduce our speaker in a sweet way, the way I was given, right? Um, the data scientist, right, and the pioneer, and the pioneer AI product manager at Wema Bank PLC. He has about 7 years experience being in product roles. He loves to push the limits of possibilities. Philip is also a product executive at the Bill and Melinda Product Innovation Lab at the Lagos Business School, where he's currently working to build sustainable and inclusive digital financial services using human-centered designs, right? And is currently enrolled in a data science um what's the English now? In a data science master degree program, right, at the University of East London. And he loves to engage in communities. He loves to engage communities like our own, like Innovalab community, right? Um, in the fields of data analytics and product management, right? And is an ardent supporter of Liverpool. I think I mentioned that yesterday, right? And yeah, it's great to have you here, Philip. Good evening, and it's great to see you once again. It is your time, so get us right into the conversation. Good evening.
All right. Thank you very much. Blessing. And good evening, everybody. It's so great to be back here again. And thank you for joining once more. If you joined yesterday and are here today, um, it was a wonderful conversation yesterday. I got a number of messages from us on the call. I was on the call yesterday, telling me about how the session really, shifted their minds in the possibilities around AI. So it was really wonderful to see that. And I will try to share my screen now so that we can get started for today. Okay. Once again, I can't get that, so I'm going to share my entire screen. Okay. Just a moment, please. And yes. Okay. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
we can. Yes.
Amazing, wonderful. Thank you very much. So it's so good to be back here again, and thank you once again, in Overlap, for having me for the second time in this is such a short period, and it's actually my third time talking to product managers from the Overlap community. So it's really a great pleasure to have the opportunity to speak with you. Um, we are back here to talk about AI product management and how product managers can leverage AI to solve problems in Africa. I love that Blessing already, she was able to do some recap, and also I think it was David that made a recap of what he learned and what he would like to get from this event today. So I will be sharing a number of experiences from my own personal work as we go along. So as I make my presentation, I would be chipping in some experiences I've had over time. And yeah, I'm back to this quote again from Merrily. Like I said yesterday, she's the product lead, AI product lead at Google. And she said AI product management is the career shaping the future. And you would agree with me as we go ahead. Yesterday, okay, before we start, okay, yeah, just some brief introductions about me. Like Blessing had already said, I am a product, sorry, okay. I am a data scientist and an AI product manager. I also am an ideation coach. I have a platform where I help people bring their ideas to life, from ideation even to execution. Ideas with Philip, and I am also an LBS trained human centered design expert. I'm also with them in the product innovation lab. Then I also write and I speak at various events that I've been invited to. Okay, So recap from yesterday, we talked about AI basically, right? Yesterday was for us to talk about AI and a lot of misconceptions and demystifications around AI. And we said that AI basically is an intelligent system that has been taught to mirror human understanding using a language it can understand, which is where machine learning comes in, right? And where does it learn that from? It learns it from the data that has been fed into it. So that's basically what an AI is. So, and this actually, the need for me to clearly explain this yesterday was that I had spoken with loads of founders, I've spoken with loads of CEOs, I've spoken with loads of product managers who don't really, who have a misconception about capabilities of AI, right? And what AI can do and what AI is possible of doing. So I always take time anytime I'm invited to talk around about AI or anything around AI and data analytics to clearly explain what AI is, right? And which is what you have on your screen here today. So because of time, let's move on ahead. Right, you would agree with me that it is the duty of product managers to know what the users want, right? And how can we know what the users want as product managers? Right. Can somebody unmute and sort of answer that question? I would like to hear back. Yesterday, I couldn't do that. I like to do that a lot in my sessions. Can somebody tell me how is this statement true, first off, and how can we know what the users want? Anybody? Let's make the class interactive today. Hello.
Elicitation, market
Elicitation.
surveys.
Okay. Market surveys. Please, do you mind to explain the elicitation?
Well, if you're working in uh, if your customers are in-house or staff or your stakeholders are in-house, I guess elicitation. What I mean by elicitation is gathering requirements from stakeholders. That's what I mean by elicitation.
All right, all right. I love that answer. Thank you for the explanation. Right, you said something very key, which was gathering requirements, and you also talked about market surveys. Right, what you're doing at those points is gathering data. Right, you want to know what the market survey is, what the market is saying, so you deploy a market survey to gather data, so that you can understand what the market is saying and make further decisions about it. Right, also when you talked about elicitation, right, you are trying to gather requirements, trying to make the the internal user, as the case may be, understand what you're trying to do and also get feedback, right? All that is, you are sharing data, you are receiving data back, which will help you further grow in whatever you need to achieve, right? So like I said, it is the duty of product managers to know what the users want, and how the product manager can know what the users want is through collection of data, right? Collection of data, analyzing data to generate insights, and making decisions from that data. All right. So let's move quickly, and I want to talk about, the topic really is to talk about how we can leverage AI as product managers. But before we leverage AI, I would like for us to note the following, right? We must build products that leverage data from the discovery stage, even up on all the stages that we have in the product lifecycle management, as the case may be, right? Using human-centered designs. And I would explain, right? We are building products for users. We are building products for human beings, real life users, right? Even though we are trying to leverage AI, it is still humans that will use these products. No product manager builds products for themselves, right? Even though you see cases of a product manager saying, oh, they had an issue with doing something and they discovered there's a gap there, so they let them build a product that bridges that gap. At the end of the day, it's not the founder that would use the product alone. It's not the founder that would take that startup to a Series A stage, for example, right? It is the customers that the startup has been able to gather or get. So it is very important as product managers that you work with the users, work with the communities you're building for, collaborate with them, gather data as much as you can, right? And that is the core crux of human-centered designs, right? You are building for humans. It is humans that will use whatever solution you're developing. So you need to work with them from the get-go. From the time you've identified the problem, you need to gather data to even validate that idea, right? Is it a true problem, or are you the only one facing that problem? Or is it just few people facing the problem, or does the problem cut across many people? Is it just based on a geopolitical zone, or it's a nationwide problem? These insights, these questions will help you, know how to solve the customer's problems, right? And what you do in those stages is, you're collecting data, right? I said here that you need to validate with data, build with data, launch even with data, evaluate with data, iterate with data, right? You've gotten an idea, you want to build it. The next thing for you to do is to validate with the data you collect. And yesterday, if you remember, when I was talking about AI and how AI has come to be, I told you, I did mention that it all starts with the data that you have, right? An AI system, an intelligent system cannot understand what you are teaching it if you do not have data to teach it, right? So that data is very important. It always starts with the data. So always validate with data, validate your ideas with data. Then when you start to build with data as well. How do the customers want the product, right? And this is where some form of user research and user interaction and experience research comes in. UI UX, where would they prefer to have particular button, right? These are the things that international organizations and companies and products that we really admire. This is what they do. They spend a lot of time in their research and development, right? Because they always build with data. So when you build, also you must launch with data. Where should you launch your product, or even how are you supposed to launch your product, right? Should it be say in a particular market, or should it be from a particular platform? Should it be via a mobile app, or should it be via a web app? Or these questions would be answered if you collect the right amount of data, for your launch as well. Then when you're evaluating with data as well, right? You've launched and you're trying to see how your customers or users are using your product, right? You have to collect data to analyze, to understand what is happening with your product. Likewise, if you want to iterate with your product, you want to release a new feature, you want to release a new update, how are customers or the users that you already have, how are they going to use it? How have they been using the previous edition, launches you have had, right? The previous product launches you have had, how have they be using that? So it's very important to always work with data if you want to even leverage AI. So let's move on ahead. Also, before we leverage data, you should ask yourself the question, what problem am I trying to solve, right? And this would help you understand what form of AI you should employ, right? Do you want to gain more customers or users? Do you want to retain the customers you already have? Do you want to get your customers to try out a new feature or a product from a product suite, right? This AI can help you do all this, but if you do not have a problem you're trying to solve, you've not crafted it in a way that you would understand, you would not know the form of AI to apply. So usually when people reach out to me and say they want to, find a way to use AI in healthcare, use AI in e-commerce and the likes, then I start to ask, what problem are you trying to solve, right? That would determine how an AI system can be developed, right? That will even determine the kind of data you need to gather or collect or analyze, right? That you now feed into a system that the AI will understand using machine learning, right? Using machine learning algorithms, so that you can have an output that you can now work with. So always identify the problems you're trying to solve, right? Okay, moving on ahead. Also, before you leverage AI, what else should you note? Try to localize the development of AI products as best as you can. Whatever products you're building that is leveraging AI, try to localize it as best as you can. And this is because a lot of strategic frameworks, a lot of methodologies, and even packages that is used by the data scientists that build these predictive analytics models or machine learning models as we have them, they are not reflective of our realities in Africa or what in our market over here. So it is very imperative that we tune our development to the local market as close as we can. And I'll make an example. I did mention it yesterday, but I would like to mention it here again. There was a project I was working on, and it was to gather sentiments of customers across multiple social media platforms, so that we can analyze and see what customers were saying about our brand, as the case may be. And a package to use there was the sentiment intensity analyzer, right? We are product managers, so I don't want to use a lot of big like lingua, but that package would help us, was the one that helped us, to analyze the sentiments, to say this is positive, this is negative, this is neutral, so we can know which one to focus on. So is it the negative one to focus on and see what they are saying negatively about us, or is it the positive one so that we can know what we're doing good and what we need to keep doing, or is it the neutral one that it's just neutral? neither here nor there, right? But as the case was, we now discovered a number of negative sentiments were being tagged as neutral or positive because we in this context in Africa here, we do not only speak language, English language when we make our comments on social media, right? So you have a case where somebody is speaking in pidgin language, right, or in his local dialect, and there's a form of English there, but it's not the system only understands the English part, does not understand the local part. So we just analyze it and says because of this English part, I understand this is positive. This is a positive sentiment, right? So an example, I wanted to buy goods and services from so and so person, and the person not even just deliver, he just did misbehave. At that point, the system can only understand that English part that has been mentioned, the sentence, but the part where there's the pidgin, the system was not trained to understand that pidgin, right? And this is why I say we need to invest a lot in our local space so that we can build models, we can build packages that would reflect what we are trying to do or our market in Africa, in the African context. So everything we do around AI, it is whatever you're feeding it that it gives you back. So if you have, I would say if you have trained an AI system to understand Yoruba, anything you speak around Yoruba, it will understand. Right? But because a lot of these packages are sort of like Western in innovation and inventions, they are not training our local balance. So this bit is very important for us to always know. Also, when we are developing, also, we are working with our local markets in Nigeria, Africa, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, as the case may be, right? What is unique to that market, right? We have to find those things out so that we can know how to employ whatever AI strategy we choose to use. Right? These are very important, and I'm sure you would agree with me that the work of a product manager is endless research, right? So we need to always make the research going so that we can so that we can achieve that growth that we really desire as product managers. Okay, so let's now move to an interesting part. Time is usually fast spent when we start talking about these things. So, what are the ways to leverage AI as a product manager? Right, you will see the reason why Mary Lee said AI product management is the career shaping the future. Right. Okay, number one way is to predict user or customer churn. AI would help you to predict a customer that is about to leave you. So imagine this: I am able to tell of when customers will leave me based on the number of behavior, right? Or you have had customers leave you in the past, and you've analyzed their behavior to see, okay, the customer stopped this particular feature at XYZ time, then they stopped this one also, this new feature at XYZ time, then they stopped logging into the app, or they spend less time on the app, or they spend less time on one particular feature that they usually spend more time on. And you see that behavior, you analyze that behavior, and you understand that, right? And eventually the customer left you, right? Or your solution or your product. Then you now see another customer that is already patterning their behavior towards that customer that had left, right? You can immediately tell that customer will leave you just on the surface value, right? So AI will help you to analyze past behavior based on whatever you feed it, right? And predict a customer that will then churn. You have millions of customers, you have hundreds of thousands of customers. You can't manually go through every single customer to see what their behavior is. If they start using your products less, or they start spending less time on a particular feature, or they spend or they don't even open the app in 30 days, in 60 days, right? AI will help you know that this particular customer in this bucket are about to leave you. So you can then initiate marketing strategies that you use to gain those customers back or retain those customers, right? You start to push out things around we missed you, or do you know you can use this voucher code, all these strategies that we employ as product managers. AI will help you identify those kind of customers that are about to leave you and keep your customers with you, right? Another way to leverage AI as a product manager is AI will help you know your customers and understand behaviors, just like I said earlier, right? And by know your customers, I don't mean the usual KYC that for some of us that might work in the fintech or banking space or financial services space. I mean, help you really, really know who your customers are. And now, what's one of the ways is the AI customer segmentation, right? Which looks at so many features that a customer might have, right? Based on what the data that has been collected during onboarding. So you've collected demographic data, you've collected transaction data if you're a fintech, you've collected data about their location, you've collected data about their marital status, their employment status, a lot of data points that you've collected, right? And you now want to know who your users are, and you want to like group them together to know who they are. AI would clearly help you, using a number of models, a popular one being the K-means model, to help you combine or group all your customers together and let you know who your customers are. So you can then analyze to say, okay, these customers, they seem to be the high value customers. These customers seem to be the customers that are not they I don't want to say low value, but they have the numbers, but they're low value. So they give you the numbers, but they're not performing as much transactions. So I'm trying to remember a quote I saw that it's 1% of customers that do. I can't remember how they said it, but basically it was saying that only very few amounts of customers do the volume that why just a mass market, they just have the account for you, right? So it's just a user behavior thing. So knowing your customer, AI will help you know your customers and even know so that you can know how to reach out to these customers, right? For example, in the financial space, I'm sure you might be familiar with terms like HNIs, high net worth individuals, right? AI can even help you to group a lot of customers together that you might not naturally just see that they're high net worth individuals, right? So that when you send marketing strategy, marketing campaigns to them, you know how you communicate with them versus somebody that his desire is just host an event and let me come and mingle with other people, right? So these are ways you can use AI, to keep being in touch with your customers, right? Remember I said earlier that it is the job of product managers to understand what the users want, right? So a way, if you already even know who your customers are, using the customer segmentation model that AI offers, you're able to better know how to communicate with them and tailor services and products to their needs, right? And that would be that explanation. So another way is to analyze and draw insights from customer feedback. So you've built your product, you have tons of, reviews on the Play Store, for example, or you have tons of comments about your product on social media, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, and the likes, right? How do you analyze those insights? How do you analyze those data sets, rather? How do you analyze those comments? How do you analyze those I would say sentiments that has been given to your product, right? AI can clearly help you to do that, and that's one of the products I mentioned earlier, which is the custom sentiment analysis AI product, right? It can help you to see at a glance what the customers are saying about you, right? They can group them together in the positive, in the negative, in the neutral, so you know which one to focus on. So, for example, comments from your Play Store, comments from your page on Play Store about your products, for example, right? There's so many of them. How do you find the ones that they are telling you what you need, what you've done very well, what you need to do better, or what you shouldn't even do anymore, right? Because it's the voice of the customers. They are the ones you are building for, right? So AI is a tool that can help you do that. Using web scraping, using advanced analytics and modeling, it can help you group these sentiments into these polarities of the positive, negative, and neutral. And one way to do that, is usually to work with your data science team or data analytics team, right? Or just on the surface level, you can gather all of them together and put it in a Word document. And if you are a subscriber of this paid version of ChatGPT, you can upload the document and tell it to analyze the sentiments for you and let you know if the ones that are positive, negative, or neutral, right? So these are some ways, to leverage AI as a product manager. Another way is you can predict resource allocation and manage inventory. So you're in the e-commerce space, or you're in a space where you have to always manage resources and inventory, right? AI can help you to predict when a resource will be depleted and how to better manage an inventory that you have, right? So it's usually based on the data that you've already collected. So there's data that says towards the end of every month or by mid-month, a particular resource gets depleted, right? You've collected that data over time, even though sometimes it goes probably the first of the month is depleted, the ending of the month is depleted. But the AI system would understand, it will understand the data set, go through all the patterns that exist in your data and predict. So I always make this example. So let's say you are in the hospital, or you are a product manager in the healthcare space, right? And you want to predict that, you want to sort of help hospitals better predict when they will come into or when they will go into hospitals and use resources, right? Inpatients or outpatients, if they will be inpatients or outpatients, right? If you've collected data over time to say XYZ customers or XYZ patients have always come to the hospital at particular day on particular dates, or there's been more cases of XYZ diseases or the need for a doctor at particular days. Just on the surface value, you can predict when next the patients will come for similar healthcare needs. So now imagine what AI can do on understanding a lot of patterns that will exist in your data set, which will now come together, to help you predict what the resource need would be, right? So that you can better understand the allocation you need to put in place as at when due, right? Likewise for managing inventories, right? And these are advanced analytics methods that you have to employ. Remember I said it is the AI system that you are teaching a language using data, right? You are speaking a language which is the machine learning. The machine is learning what's you are teaching it from the data. So if you understand the data, you can better predict something that even us humans really can't. Another way to leverage AI is through fraud, right? So if you work in the insurance space, for example, and people have to make claims, right? AI can help you to predict fraud, for fraudulent to stem fraudulent claims. A lot of times we get to see that in insurance space, people things that didn't happen, people will say it happened so that they can get their insurance claims. So AI, based on a number of patterns you've seen before as human, right? You've seen that if somebody's saying something this way, or if somebody is performing this kind of transaction, you can tell that that person is fraudulent. So AI would analyze that data set, understand what you've tagged as fraudulent behavior, and then gather that together and draw insights from your data and predict that this person is fraudulent. So even on the get-go, you can make it so intelligent that as you are coming to claim your insurance, to have your insurance claim, is already telling you that is fraudulent. So it now prevents you from doing a lot of work to manually see if the person is fraudulent or the claim is fraudulent. So you can now then use the human factor to analyze those fraudulent claims and be sure that they are truly fraudulent, instead of going through a lot of the customers that you have. Same for banking, right? Tons of transactions happen every second in banking industry or in financial services space. So how do you predict fraud that would happen, right? You've seen and analyzed that particular behaviors tend to show fraud, right? In your own space, you've seen that. So you now teach the system or an intelligent system to identify those patterns, so that when the transaction is being consummated, immediately, you can predict the fraud. The system can predict that transaction is fraudulent. So you as human can now analyze those claims individually, as against analyzing every single transaction that occurs in with using your product, right? So another way is to recommend other features or products to your existing customers. So today you have a number of product suites, right? So, and you've seen that customers are using product A more than product B, but that product B complements product A. So, and you want people to come on board product B or C or D, right? You can use AI to understand the needs of those customers in product A, so you can better tailor what you recommend to them. So if, for example, I am somebody that, let's say, I like to be indoors, right? And you are pushing products to me or features to me that I should go and watch a movie outside, or I should go and party at the beach, selling tickets to me. I won't buy it because I'm a homebody. I like to stay indoors. Versus if you're telling me that I should pay for Netflix, I would take that faster than telling me to go and watch movies out in a movie cinema. So these are the things that AI can help you to understand. So if you see the data of your customers, if you analyze data of your customers, AI will help you to see patterns that can use to better make your products, your users, use multiple products or features that you have on your products. So another way that you can leverage AI as a product manager is to forecast demand, right? So you just in the same way with the resource allocation, right? You have you're in a space where people demand, and it's not so I would say it's not so tailored. So you are not. It's not that today 2,000 customers come for your products, tomorrow only one person comes, next tomorrow 50,000 comes, the following day just five people come, right? AI will help you to understand these demands, right? AI will generally help you understand the demands that you're making. So it is very important that you leverage AI as a product manager to better understand the data that you currently have about the demands currently being made, you know, based on your product's use, so that you can better forecast what will be needed, right? So another way, if you're in the financial space, is to predict loan defaults. Yesterday I talked about those loan organizations, reaching out to customers of our friends of their customers. All that won't be needed if they employed AI. Right, AI will help you predict who will default on your loan using a number of characteristics or features that exist in the customer's data, right? And thankfully, we have a system in Nigeria called the open banking methodology, right? That has been signed, by the CBN, signed up by the CBN, which enables every customer to share their data with other financial institutions. So if I want to give you a loan as an organization today, I just need to get you to sign off on me and accessing your data with other financial institutions, so I can see, how your behavior has been with those institutions, so that I don't give you money that you would not pay back. Right? AI would help you, to analyze tons of transactions in a matter of seconds, so you can usually know and make your decisions based on how much you can offer your users. All right. Saying all that, you would agree with me at this point that AI is truly, or AI product management is truly the career shaping future. And I would like to also say that I talk about AI product management a lot, and you can follow me on LinkedIn, or follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn. I started a series recently where I talk about everything you need to know about AI product management. So you can always reach out to me, send me an email as well, right? And from at this point, I'll take questions. I try to rush it so much so that I can have ample time to take questions from the house. So, Blessing, kindly help me coordinate that. Thank you.
You know, all right. Thank you so much, Philip, for this amazing session. So yes, guys, do we have questions for Philip? Do we have questions, personal questions, non-personal questions, AI questions, non-AI questions, product management questions? Don't ask non-product management with this stuff though. Right, okay, we have two ends up. We have Oluwapelumi and Olarinwaju Adedoyin. Okay, so let's have Oluwapelumi John Oluwalano.
Thank you very much for this. It's really, I would say, comprehensive and much more than comprehensive. I know you have so a lot to compress in order for us to understand everything you discussed can be
Yes.
unpacked into different domains. Now, my question would be, what is the importance of uh, learning, maybe machine learning or all those AI methodology? How important are they for the AI product manager, knowing fully well that you won't really like get into development? Maybe those are for ML engineers or data scientists that are into machine learning and all those stuff. But how important is it for me as an AI product manager to really know those things, or even maybe learn or code them obviously? That would be one. And number two, my second question is there any really a distinct difference between data product managers and AI product managers, knowing fully well that AI relies on data? That is my question. Thank you.
All right. All right. I love your questions. And so your first question that says, is it necessary to or important to learn, these methodologies of AI. And I'll just say right out of the gate, yes, it is. Just like you have, usually as product managers, we build um, software products, so to speak, where we work with software engineers and we speak their language. We talk about Jira, CI, CD, all these methodologies that exist. We use Jira, we use these Scrum methodologies and Agile and all these things, which is the lingua of software product development, right? Or if you're working in the software as a service space, for example, right? So as product managers, we have to learn all those bits. And likewise, as an AI product manager, you also need to learn the methodologies of AI so that you can better, converse with the data scientists, the machine learning engineers that will be developing a lot of these solutions that you're coming up with or your products that you're coming up with, right? And to now answer your other question about the difference between data product management and AI product management, with using the idea that it all starts with the data, right? So I would say to you, there are similarities, right? There are similarities. So a data product manager is just somebody that has a full understanding of what the data is saying and can now create a data product, right? I said yesterday that a data product manager, data product management, can you create a data product where it's just even a Power BI dashboard that someone else will see or interface with, right? Today we have products, so there are solutions we use that shows us analytics of our products, right? So today you want to see the heat map of your product, for example, the landing page where people go to most times. When they come to your page as product manager, you see that through this many, I would say many tools that exist. So we that product that you are using to see, okay, 20 people have seen use my products today, or 15 people have used my product today, okay, this is the feature they're using the most. That's a data product, right? It has gathered data from multiple sources, and it's not showing you an insight, right? That's why I said even a Power BI dashboard can do the work, right? So a data product manager is somebody that builds data products. An AI product manager is somebody that builds AI products. AI products takes data and feed it into an intelligent system, right? That's what AI, that's what the space is really, to take data from whatever form it is and process it and feed it into a system that will now better predict certain other certain things. So the work of an AI product manager to me is more robust than a data product manager, actually, right? So there's actually some other people use it interchangeably, right? There are product managers, advanced analytics, there's product manager, data product owner, product manager, data analytics. Different organizations use them interchangeably, but the crux of the matter, always starts with data. So once you are knowledgeable about data and how to use data, you can then easily understand how to feed that data into an intelligent system that is known as AI, so that you can build something with it. And that's basically that bit.
All
Thank you.
right. Very much for that one. We have another hand up. We have Olariwaju Adedon. Hi, Olariwaju. Please do well to answer.
Yeah, thank you, Blessing. Thank you, Blessing. Thank you also, Mr. Phillips,
Thank you.
for all that you have given to us this evening. And my own question is just for someone that wants to be AI product manager, will it require the person to be have a knowledge of coding? And the second question is, with your experience on this journey, did you have any disadvantage or or any challenges that you confront in the course of this journey? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And your first question, which is, do you need to learn coding? Absolutely not, right? It's just the same way product manager does not need to learn how to code in software languages, right? Or in languages when you're building software. Rather. Same way, you don't need to learn coding, you don't need to learn Python, which is the major tool that is being used to write codes for data analytics or advanced analytics and modeling, as you may have it. So no, you do not need to, right? But you need to have an understanding of how it works, right? So that you can better apply it to whatever objective you are looking to get, right? So that is very important. That is the important thing, just like the methodologies, understanding the methodologies will help you, to make your products better, right? So as a product manager, you don't need to learn coding. Absolutely not. I don't even agree that a product manager needs to learn SQL, although some organizations ask for it, but that's the role of a data analyst or a data engineer, as the case may be. So that's basically it. And your other question about challenges, and I just have to laugh because yes, there's so many challenges, right? For example, in this space today, there's a very limited number of AI products managers, and I even mean in Africa, right? I was in a AI product strategy meeting sometime back, and it was basically, I think I only saw only one other Nigerian name on that call, and even foreign this was like it was with foreigners, I would say, let me say, people in the Western world, right? And tons of them were still even confused on how to even incorporate AI into their products, right? Even these are the people that we people in this space typically look up to and say these are the knowledgeable people. So as it is now, the space is just starting, right? So there's not so much information out there. A lot of organizations bringing courses and teaching product managers how to learn AI and how to incorporate AI in their products and the likes. They just started since in the last 1 year, right? Where ChatGPT brought the attention to the AI space. Everybody's not talking about AI, right? So the major challenge I faced, I've been doing AI product management, or at the time data product management, for more than 2 years now. So it was really, really tough to get knowledge on how to combine both together. I have the knowledge of the data analytics, I have the knowledge of the product management. How do I mirror them together? But I'm grateful that I've been able to figure that out. But at the time, it was very challenging. So one challenge you may face if you come into the space is this information. But thankfully, there are people that have done well in the space now and are talking about it. Merrily is one person that I follow her, and she's always talking about AI product management. And myself too, the information I've gathered, I like to try to put it up there back for people that might be coming up to use for their decision if they want to specialize in AI product management. So that's how I answer the question, Larry Maji.
Right. Thank you for that one. All right. We have Oluwatobi Egbewale. Hi, Oluwatobi. Please unmute to ask your question.
Hi, Blessing. Good evening, and thank you Tim, for this wonderful session. So I love the areas of which you expounded to us. My question would be: probably you're building a product and you're starting from scratch, but you want to incorporate AI to help your users. So because most of the advantages I saw there were more like helping you the owner of the product, but like you want to use it to help your users. For instance, let me give a better case scenario. If you are building a product that is going to be working with SMEs and then they need to help them with automating their financial inventories and all of that, how do you incorporate that? Or like what data do you use? Because it's going to be the first time, like you're just gaining users. So that's my question. I don't know if my question is clear.
I think I got it, and I would reiterate, or say it again. So you want to the products you're building, with SME, trying to automate their inventory, so to speak, or their financial records. Is that the case? Am I correct?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Okay. So how do you use AI in that space, being that it's a new space and you don't even have data about them already? So it's very clear from the point where you start to um, I always say something. I think I must have missed that out in this space. So there are times when you might not really need to start with AI from the get-go, right? You have to have collected the data from these customers, except you have enough data from surrounding events, right, that you can then use. But usually when you're dealing with a customer transaction, it is what they have done, right? They are doing that transaction as time goes on. Then you now incorporate it as a feature later on, to um, help streamline or improve their processes. So a case that I will mention is just probably like a personal finance manager, for example, that helps them to properly manage their finances. So automatically, when it's time for them to perform a transaction, and even software engineering sort of can do that, it automates that payment to a particular vendor or a particular person, right? So, but at the time when you don't have the data about how they perform their transactions, right, you would not really have any data to work with, right? So the scope, that's why I always say that, what are you trying to solve for, right? And I mentioned that in the presentation. Usually when I tell people, what are you trying to solve for? Because that would determine what chat strategy to use. There's no one size fits all in AI product management or using AI or data, right? The problem has to be tackled on the face value, like how is it exactly? So that is what you now work with, to apply data and analytics to that situation. So in your case, you might have to, go on ahead to build a product, collect data about their transaction, about their behavior, who are they transacting to, send the money to at particular times, so that you can then incorporate AI, that helps them along as they move, as they move along, actually, right? So, and that's how I answer that question, right? But if you have enough data from surrounding environments, I think you can go for it. But usually, when it comes to transaction, the person has to have performed the transaction. Will to be
Thank you so much, Philip.
right.
That was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, makes sense. Okay, we have uh, okay, we'll just take the last two hands up, and that will be all for questions. But before we do, please guys go to our social media. Let's go to our social media on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and the things that we have learned here today. Let's go ahead and share them. Tag InnovaLab, tag Philip Ade-Akanbi on LinkedIn, and tag him on Twitter at Pade Akonbi, right? And yeah, share the things that you have learned. We've been watered, right? So you can do well to water other people in return, right? So we have two ends up. That's Adubi Idris and B Elofitla. So Adubi Idris will go first, then B Elofitla will go next, then we would call it a night. Adubi, over to you.
Yeah. Hi, thank you so much for the lecture tonight.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, and so I have questions, which is the first one is we understand everything you said, but where do we start? Gong, 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 gong. The
I
second
love that
one is
question. Yeah.
I had an idea using AI because I have somebody close to me that discuss AI every time, although him is the one into it. So, like speaking about how possible it was to use AI to build like a front desk that would converse in different languages to beat the barrier of people that are like don't understand English that walk into most organizations and how they can be understood. So we were kind of facing like a block where he told me
Okay.
yes they've done it before. It's a chatbot, but I don't really know. But I just from your point of view, I just want to see how possible it is.
Okay, okay, all right. I love your questions a lot. They are real. That's actually the reality. Your questions are very reflective of reality. So your question, where do we start? The way you said, where do we start? Go boom. So it first starts with, and I mentioned this yesterday, or was it yesterday, or it was? I think it was during another session. Apologies that I mentioned that. It starts with the goal you want to achieve. Like, what do you want to achieve? Right? That will determine what strategies you put in place so that you can move forward. So, in the case of say you want to, I'm going to be guessing to say you want to become an AI product manager, or you want to start using AI as a product manager. It starts with you learning the AI methodologies, right? It starts with you probably taking a course to understand the possibilities around AI, like what can AI do, right? I've mentioned some of them, but there are so many, like I mentioned earlier, there's so many courses that have come up in the last 1 year teaching product managers how to use AI and the likes. So maybe it is registering for one of those courses or just reading voraciously about AI so that you can understand the context in which AI can be used, right? That will better give you, it will arm you with knowledge to, apply to whatever product or feature you want to build. That's how I will answer that. Then you said you're working on an AI product that can sort of like intelligence front desk solution. It's actually a conversational AI product that you're talking about, right? And it's so wonderful now that there's GPTs, generative pre-trained transformer. And what they basically mean is they've been pre-trained. I talked about teaching an intelligent system using machine learning. So you can see the words that are being used. Machine learning, the machine, like the machine is learning, right? Intelligent system, pre-trained, right? So that GPT, like we have ChatGPT that we all know, right? That GPT is generative pre-trained transformer. So it has been pre-trained with a lot of data sets, right? For example, in the case of Oluwatobi, right, our customers, she's just starting out, so she does not have data about our customers' transaction behavior, for example, right? But GPTs, they gather data from multiple sources, multiple languages, multiple encyclopedias, multiple Wikipedia posts, multiple sources from social media and Twitter and everywhere, right? They've gathered this data and trained a system that if I say, how are you? You reply, fine, right? So that's that solution currently, you can leverage it for the solution you're trying to build because it understands Yoruba. It has been trained in certain languages, that you can now use, to incorporate into your products that you're building. So when you're speaking to it, it understands and it can give you a response. So that's how I would say it's way more than this, but because of time, I might not really go into the specifics, but trust me, it's very doable. And like you already pointed out, a number of people have started doing things like that. It's basically conversational AI, right? It's not a chatbot per se. I'll call it a conversational AI, right? It's just like your Siri, right? So that's just what the case is. Or that's how you can go about that actually. You can reach out to me, they will talk more about it actually.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll reach out to you on LinkedIn. What's your LinkedIn?
It's the same name as my name on this call.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
His name on LinkedIn is Philip Ade-Akanbi. Same thing you're seeing on your screen here, just on this call. Thank you very much, Philip, for asking that question. B, please go ahead with your question.
All right. Thank you, Philip, once again for yesterday and also today. Yeah. So my question is basically what we are talking about: AI, data science, everything is encompassed in data, basically. So my question is because I noticed in Nigeria we have a problem with data. We don't have a good data system in Nigeria. So personally, how do you? Yes, my first question is how do you tend to collect data? You get in terms of whatever problem you're trying to solve. What are the right data do you collect? First, that's the question. And secondly, too, I think when Oluwatobi was talking, you mentioned something that how do you know when you have enough data to start an AI? Those are the two questions.
Okay. Okay, all right. I love your question as well. How do you collect data? Truly, in Nigerian space, and it's even globally, there's a problem with data, even from collection. It's one thing to even collect data, it's one thing to collect good data, data that can be used for further processing. So there's a case of dirty data globally, and it's terrible, especially in our space here. It's really terrible, like terrible data. You can imagine somebody registering for something and because there's no channel in place to verify an email, people just put 123 at gmail.com or they put no gmail at gmail.com, just because they have to fill something there before they can move on to the next stage, right? So that would lead me to say the best place to collect data is during onboarding, right? And put systems in place so that you ensure that you collect the right data. For example, if you want to collect good data for email, for example, you have to ensure that there's a system in place that goes to verify that email is correct by sending them a link to that email where they have to click on something and come back. Although the user journey becomes longer, but it helps you to collect that right data at that time. So that when you send the communication, you are sure that it's getting to somebody appropriate promptly, right? That's an example. Data collection, the number one place is during onboarding, right? And depending on the challenge, the problem you're trying to solve or the product you're trying to build, if it's, for example, text data that you want to analyze sentiments of your customers or what people are saying about your product. That you don't need to. There's no onboarding for that. It's another scope, right? It's just to put strategies in place to scrape the web, or social media to get that data into a place where you can analyze it. So that's why I said earlier that when it comes to data analytics and product management, there is no one size fits all. So you have to tackle the problem as it comes. So there's no one strategy that covers everything. So I would like to also say that it's very important, to have an analytical mindset when you're talking about what Oluwatobi said. When do you know you have enough data, right? That analytic mindset will help you know that this is time to incorporate AI in this way, in what I'm currently doing, right? There's really no peg anywhere that says it is until this point when you start using it. But what is very important is you just need to have that data to even begin with, right? So that you can now build further solutions on it. So having an analytical mindset is very important, and that's why I always say if you want to become an AI product manager, you have to learn the methodologies of AI. You have to think like a data analytics professional. You have to keep being curious, right? So that you can know what to look out for. And that's how I answer that question. So that I don't take more time. I can spend hours talking about this, but let me not take much of our time.
All right. Thanks so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much for that one. I think we have one more hand up. I don't know if you want to take that before we call it a night.
Yes, if it's fine by you, I would like to take as many questions.
All right, that's great. Ibrahim, please shoot.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Philip. Thanks for the insightful exposition so far. Yeah, my question is okay, do we have type of AI like, I don't know. I think I've come across different types of AI, like just reading through it. So does it now determine the kind of AI you have to build? Like, okay, let's say for example, you have generative AI, you have machine learning, and the like. So is it going to be like, okay, the type of AI will determine what like will be applicable to the problem you're trying to solve, or you can just combine the four things together? Because sometimes I can be so confused. And I wanted to ask you as well that the algorithm that we normally see that can predict what we want to do. Let's say, for example, YouTube. I used to watch football highlight on YouTube, so it already knows what I used to do. Is it AI? Thank you.
All right. I love these questions really. And to be very candid with you, it is AI. Right, let me start with your second question. It is AI because it's a recommendation system. I talked about recommendation, like your customers are using a particular product or feature, you now want them to use another one. It's clearly what you see on Netflix, what you see on Twitter, what you see on Instagram, everything you watch, they incorporated AI in there because they've collected data about how you use their platform, right? So if you are somebody that when you come on board like fresh using YouTube, for example, they tell you select a number of videos you would like to watch. And sorry, on Netflix, they tell you to select the genres you like to watch. So every time you watch series like that or movies like that, they keep recommending you similar ones that are in that scope. Same thing for YouTube, right? If you search for football the first time you get into YouTube and you keep watching football content, every single time they'll keep showing you football content. If it's music, that's what they do. If you combine football and music and lifestyle and food and healthcare, they will keep showing you options based on those features. That's why I said to Oluwatobi, you have to have collected the data first. So these guys have collected tons of data, millions or billions of data sets, right? Data points from you and your behavior, all of us actually, right? So they now use that to build an intelligent system that already says if you see Philip, know that he's always watching comedy content on YouTube. So always showing comedy content. So once I open my YouTube today, that's the first thing I would see. So that is AI. So your first question about how we then, I think you meant how we combine them together. So there's a misconception there, and I sort of talked about this yesterday. So it's not AI you apply to the problem. It's the problem you apply to AI, and I hope that makes sense as I thought about it. And this is what I'm trying to say, right? You have to first understand this situation, the problem you're trying to solve. I mentioned it earlier on this call here today about the kind of how we have to first understand the problem, right? That would inform. I want to get it exactly how I said it, right? I said before you leverage AI, note the following: what problem am I trying to solve, right? That's knowing that problem that you're trying to solve will now help you understand which AI model you need to employ. So it's not that there's any AI, you just, okay, I've heard of generative AI, let me just apply it to this product. I've heard of this, let me apply it to this product. No, what problem are you trying to solve? What problem are you really, really looking to solve? Then you now take that problem, research on the best AI methodology or system that can solve that problem, and you apply it. And that's actually how it works. So it's not that every AI you see now want to apply to your business or your product. You have to first understand the problem you're trying to solve. So AI is always a tool that you apply to other things, just like a calculator, right? You use calculators to solve problems, right? You don't say, because I have a calculator, let me look for problems to solve or something. It's when you have a problem to solve, use calculators. So that's how I would answer that, Ibrahim.
Right, I believe you've done justice to that question. Right. So yes, thank you so much, Philip, for this
Very
awesome,
welcome.
insightful session. And I mean, it's been an amazing 1 hour. Right. It's been an amazing 1 hour and 1 hour of learning, not just 1 hour for nothing. Right. So yeah, thank you so much for getting us into the world of AI. And me, I'm mesmerized because I'm always interested in AI. Like I want to just know. And now my head is really open and I understand to a certain level, right? I mean, I'm no longer in that place where I'm like, AI. I beg you people should just let's hear word, right? I'm no
Yes.
longer in that space. I'm in a place of, oh, I know what this is and how it works, right? So yes, and how product managers can, leverage um this AI thing to solving um, problems that people want to use, problems that people are interested in having a solution to. Right. So yeah, thank you so much for this amazing, insightful session. I bring greetings from the team, the InnovaLab team. Everyone is saying thank you. Someone said, Philip is nailing it though. Philip is nailing it. And we are super, super grateful for your time. I mean, yesterday and today, it is a lot, and we are grateful for your time in
Thank you.
to educate us. Yeah, and thank you for answering these questions. I mean, I was shocked when you answered because I'm like, yo, this person has knows what he's saying and understands what he's saying. Right. So yeah, thank you so much for your
You're
time.
very
Thank you
welcome.
for this all bombshell. Right. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. So someone is asking on the chat box, can we get the slides? I think Philip mentioned that yesterday that he will get the slides across to myself or Innova Lab, right? So yes, once that is shared with us, we'll definitely get the slides to be dropped in the community, right? So yeah, thank you guys. Do well to go ahead to share the things that you have learned in this session. And we will see you on the other side of Innovalab. That's the community. Right. Thank you so much, Philip, once again. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
the time. We appreciate the knowledge that you have shared with us. And it makes us feel great. Right. So yeah. Thank you so much. And bye guys. Bye for now. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and every other person that attended as well. Thank you for joining. And yeah, I'll see you.